Hey everyone, so there's a lot of things that we want in Bloxburg, but a lot of things have been added as well that make no to zero sense, so let's take a look at those. And I'm going to start with skills. If you go to skills and you scroll all the way down to where you have no levels, there is crafting and programming, and that has been in the game, I think, since 2016, and there's still no use for it. And I thought going to the computer you would be able to program, but that still hasn't been added into the game. So it's been 5 years and has just been sitting there, and it's not the usual for co-opters to add something to the game that is planned but so long ahead of time. I don't know, it just seems like something weird to me, and I don't really get why it's in the game or why it stays in the game, but it's quite funny to see that we will get those, and we usually don't get hints like that, but I don't know, but these have just been sitting here for a long time now. Then next we go into build mode, and in build mode, if you go to certain items, for example beds, you will see a comfort level right next to them. So comfort 7, comfort 6, and scrolling through them, for example, a tent is comfort level 2. It doesn't make much sense to have those. Maybe your sleep will go faster, but there's just a lot of categories, so going into plumbing as well. And right here you have hygiene and quality. That has been in the game for a while as well, but it just doesn't make any sense to what it does or how to use it, because everything basically works the same in Bloxburg, and adding these hygiene and quality and comfort stuff just seems a little bit weird to me, and I don't know why it's in the game, and maybe we will get an update for that as well, but it just feels like something weird that hasn't been used and just sits there. Then going up to the solarium, I'm pretty sure a lot of us thought that the solarium would actually become useful at one point, but now it's just an empty building block that just sits here for decoration, which is not the usual for Bloxburg, because most buildings actually have a purpose, and this one just sits here. So I feel like a lot of people were expecting to be able to enter it at one point and look at the stars or something like that, but that does not seem to be the case, and this is just an empty building with no purpose, and it has just been sitting here chilling, I guess. But so far it doesn't have any uses yet. It is just a prop. Then right here a park was added in Bloxburg, but I feel like this park, I don't know, except for Christmas and Halloween for decorations, that's kind of nice. This park doesn't really have a use, and it looks like a park you could walk your dog in, so they must have planned it to be able to make it so that you can walk your dog here. But right now it doesn't really have a use, and it just kind of sits here. But it's not as bad as the others that really don't have a purpose at all. You can still go out and walk here, and I don't know, if you're role playing you can walk your baby with a stroller here, something like that, and I don't know, it has some purpose to it. Then I have to explain myself for these mics, motors, and then the furniture store and stuff like that. Those are actually used quite a lot in the beginning of the game, but then people just moved to build mode because that was easier, so they did have a use. Right now they have a little bit less of a use, but they did have a purpose way before. Then the gas station, yes, you can take out the nozzle right here, but other than that there is nothing that you can do. And a lot of people were expecting the update after the gas station, or the usable gas station at least, to be an update where you had to get gas for your car, but that wasn't it, and now it's just been sitting here, and some people go up to it for role plays and just take the nozzle and act as if they're filling up their car, but it didn't really have a use, and adding usable nozzles didn't really add much to that. So right now this gas station has just been sitting here a little bit, and I don't know, people don't really use it anymore. But then behind that, the monstrosity of this parking lot, that one was literally the worst update ever. That was added together with bills, and I don't know why, but I don't know, it felt like they were running out of ideas, so they just added a massive parking lot for no reason at all, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this is literally more than half of what the server can hold. So just adding these spots and then these spots right here would be enough to have space for the entire map. However, there's 3 levels in here, and you can add a lot more cars to it if you wish, but other than that it doesn't really have a use, and people don't really use it as well, because if they go to work they usually park here in front of Mike's Motors or the parking right next to the nightclub or something like that. So there's a lot of parking in the city center already, so adding a massive parking garage just feels like a filler, and no one was really happy with it, because this plot right there at the edge of the map used to have an amazing view of the beach, and you could actually see the Ferris wheel and stuff like that, and now this blocks the view, so that's kind of sad. And I don't know, I don't feel like people actually use the parking garage anyway, so that was a really questionable thing that they added and never really had a use for it. Maybe in the future for a taxi job, that would be fun, but I don't know, I don't see it. And then of course, this building kind of got its own purpose with role players as a school, but other than that, nothing has been inside it for a long time now, and it's just an empty building. I mean, it looks nice inside and it's kind of cool to look at, but in the end it's just an empty building and it doesn't make much sense to have it in Bloxburg. It's nice from the outside, the inside is totally different, but it could have at least been a library or something like that, or something useful, because right now no one really enters there unless they're dropping off their kids for quote-unquote school. But other than that, this building has no use at all, and it just sits there, and it would be nice if there was like a library in it, or if they made a school in it or something like that, something useful. That would be so cool. But other than that, I feel like a lot of the things we got are purposeful and do have a use, especially in the later updates. They're definitely trying to work out how to make everything more usable. For example, the resizing, the moving trees and stuff like that. So that's really cool, and we haven't really seen anything weird come out in the last few months/years, so we don't have empty buildings. I mean, yeah, the map expansion was a bit of a letdown. A lot of players were excited. I wasn't as excited for it because it was just a highway, and I knew people would use it once and then never again, so it doesn't really have a use. But I think the weirdest thing for me is definitely the skill set, where we have crafting and programming, and it has been there for a very long time, probably since the beginning of the game, so I don't really get why it's still there and still doesn't have a use. But we don't really see those things come out anymore that don't have a use and then get a use in a later update. What we do see now is things that have a use already but become even more useful in later updates, for example with resizing. Now these are some of the things I really don't get in Bloxburg. Are there any things that you're like, why is this in the game? This doesn't have a purpose. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button and please subscribe.